Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kim Bitsko is a longtime resident of Las Vegas, Executive Director of the Nevada High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, longtime law enforcement veteran, 30 years with Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, assigned to vice, narcotics training, and canine units, helped form the forerunner of HIDTA, HIDTA, and the Drug Interdiction Combined Enforcement Task Force, DICE. Served 4 years in the canine program, and as a matter of fact, Las Vegas Metro named their canine training facility after Kent. It's now called the Lieutenant Kent Bitsko Canine Training Facility. He retired. His retirement lasted all of 1 year, and then he joined HIDTA in 2007 as their executive director, and under his leadership, HIDTA has grown to 12 enforcement task forces and 4 administrative initiatives. So we welcome you and thanks for being here.
Senator Pryor, Senator Ensign, I appreciate the opportunity to come and address this committee. My testimony is going to address a few cases that we've experienced in Nevada that outline the impact that the cartels have directly on especially southern Nevada. The first one got a lot of media attention in 2008. It was a Cole Puffenberger kidnapping. Cole Puffenberger was a 6-year-old boy who had the misfortune of having Mr. Tinnemeyer as his grandfather. Mr. Tinnemeyer was transporting cocaine for the Sinaloa drug cartel and decided on his 6th trip, transporting 250 kilos from the southwest border to the East Coast, that he would steal $4.5 million from the cartel. Well, the cartel contracted with a couple of local cell leaders in Nevada and kidnapped Cole to try and get his grandfather out of hiding and to recover the money that he had stolen from him. We were fortunate enough working our HIDTA ISC with the Fusion Center led to the recovery of Cole unharmed and the prosecution of the local cell head leaders. They weren't convicted of the kidnapping, but they were convicted of drug trafficking. Second case, we have some pictures, I believe, of a hidden compartment that was located in a trailer. It was a Sanchez case. Operatives from the local La Familia cell head met with undercover operatives at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Over the subsequent couple of weeks, there was several narcotics undercover buys that transpired. When they took down Mr. Sanchez and his associates, intelligence led to his stash house, which was located in the central western part of Las Vegas. When they hit this house with a search warrant, well, it was a trailer, and the trailer was worth about $15,000. And the compartment that they found located under the bed, kind of a basement built under the trailer, they inadvertently found the button that activated the bed coming up, opened up the compartment, found automatic weapons, a drug stash, and they spent $20,000 on the compartment in a trailer that wasn't worth $15,000. So it gives you an idea of the level of commitment that they have in hiding their narcotics and preventing both the police and their competitive drug trafficking organizations from getting to their stash. The third and fourth case that I want to talk a little bit about, it's a case that the Southern Nevada Drug Task Force, a part of HIDTA, has been working since 2007. This case started with a 1-ounce cocaine purchase from just a local Mexican national, didn't really know what they had. When they started running this person's name through all the databases that they had available to them, they discovered that he was very involved with the La Familia drug cartel. And over the following 2.5 years, this investigation has been going on. It has resulted in the recovery of $1.1 million in bulk cash, 42 kilos of cocaine, 150 kilos of methamphetamine, 42 search warrants seized, 114 different telephone intercepts, and 65 arrests. Dismantled several cartel cells across the nation. They worked with DEA's their intelligence division and participated in the dismantlement of cell heads in California and in points east also. This spun into the Menlo case, which was another La Familia cell in Nevada. This gentleman was using an 18-wheeler to pick up cocaine on the southwest border and transport it into Las Vegas, and then also many cities in the central and eastern part of the United States. At one point, phone recordings indicated that he was transporting $450,000 in bulk cash after making his drug deliveries. It went back to Las Vegas, and before they could react and get a search warrant at the house, he got it out of there, and it was taken back down to Mexico in the bulk cash. These cases are just a sampling of what we're dealing with in southern Nevada and what law enforcement and the prosecutors are tasked with in southern Nevada. Some of the things that the cartels are doing that are trying to thwart the efforts of law enforcement, they're using Skype, BlackBerry email accounts. They're posting email drafts to an email account, and then instead of transmitting them, they're giving that email access code to their co-conspirators where they can go in and get the message, trying to keep law enforcement from intercepting. The cartels or the DTOs in Nevada are also using Mexican cell services and their push to talk. And because these are based out of Mexico, the law enforcement can't get the subscriber information to go up on warrants and to go up on Title IIIs. Nevada HIDTA has had a significant impact on the law enforcement cooperation in Nevada, both Washoe County and Clark County. As Senator Ensign mentioned, we have 12 enforcement initiatives. This has not always been the case in southern Nevada. When I was working narcotics, we would start a task force and somebody would get mad at somebody else and everybody would take their toys and go home. Well, with the advent of the HIDTA and with those heads of agencies having to sit across the table every quarter with their federal counterparts and their state counterparts, anytime there's a difference, they've been able to work it out. So since 2001 and the advent of HIDTA, we've had an extremely close working relationship with all the federal agencies, all the state and local agencies. It's been a great relationship, and we hope to see that continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Both of you, once again, thanks for coming from our states to come here and give us that perspective from local folks after the feds. And one of the things, as you know, Ken, I've toured the fusion centers and DEA and the FBI and the HIDTA centers, and it really is remarkable. And everybody I keep talking to, the cooperation and coordination at all levels now is so much better than it used to be. It used to be so many of the turf battles. This is our turf, don't step into it, and we're not going to, it's like the feds were the enemy or, whatever. And that seems to have mostly gone away. I'm sure it still happens somewhat, but it seems to mostly have gone away because it's such a critical issue. You're dealing with on the front lines, obviously, and seeing what's happening in the local communities. One of the questions that I do get that I just always like to ask people who are on the front lines, you get this question about legalizing marijuana, legalizing, other types of drugs. I just like your personal opinion. You guys have been doing this for a long time. Just your personal opinion. One is on legalizing just marijuana. And then the other would be on legalizing other types of drugs, because they say that if the argument goes this way, that if you legalize it, you take away the criminal aspect of it. So I'm not trying to prejudice your answer or anything like that. I'm just saying what the people who are for legalization say, and I just like your responses to it. Either one.
Having dealt with this for many, many years in my law enforcement career, having seen the impacts of narcotics in my family, I don't know anybody that decided on a Friday night that had never done drugs, I think I'll go do some crack cocaine. Everybody starts with something. Whether it's marijuana or whether it's pharmaceuticals, they don't normally start doing heroin or cocaine or methamphetamine. So I think it's disingenuous for anybody to say that marijuana is not a gateway drug. Give you a little bit of an idea of the impact that marijuana is having on the local scene in Las Vegas. At the beginning of 2010, we had no dispensaries in Las Vegas. By October of 2010, we had 62 dispensaries, marijuana dispensaries in Las Vegas that were dispensing marijuana and marijuana edibles. The working in partnership with Las Vegas Metro, with the U.S. Attorney's Office and DEA, they served search warrants on 18 of those organizations. They seized over 300 pounds of finished product, and I don't remember the exact tonnage of edibles that they seized, but they seized a lot of edibles. They arrested 18 people on federal indictments. We've seen, and I believe it's direct relation to these dispensaries, the marijuana indoor grows are up by about 60% over the last 3 years. We're on pace in 2011 to do 200 indoor grows in southern Nevada. Now, northern Nevada doesn't have the problem with indoor grows because they're getting their marijuana from over the hill in central California. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police reported when I was preparing my annual report and threat assessment that they had 8 homicides in 2010 directly related to marijuana, including a 12-year-old girl that was killed in a home invasion. I think it was the uncle that was living in the house owed money to a DTO. They went over to collect at a home invasion, wound up killing a 12-year-old girl, and that was behind marijuana. So the effect that marijuana is having on our communities and on our children and the other segments it's almost indescribable. And it's the biggest cash crop. I mean, we talk about heroin and methamphetamine and cocaine, but there's a lot more money being made in Mexico from from marijuana than there is the other drugs.
So I would take that you would not be for Vegas.
No way.